Host Jeff. All right, folks, buckle up for a treat. We're bringing in a true friend of the show, a massive talent lighting up screens everywhere, from blockbuster films to the latest season of White Lotus. He's a tennis fanatic who's probably still buzzing from this weekend's matches. Give it up for Jason Isaacs. Jason, great to see you. I'm here with Gil and Nick. Looks like you're in an airport? Jason Isaacs. Hey Jeff, Gil, Nick. Yeah, I'm stuck in Heathrow, Terminal 5, to be exact. My flight was 3 hours late, but no way was I missing a chance to chat with you guys on my favorite channel about my favorite sport. I was glued to the Wimbledon finals all weekend, like every tennis nut out there. What a weekend, right? It really showed how insane it was that Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic kept that god-level performance up for 2 decades. The final wasn't a classic, let's be honest, but it opens up some wild possibilities for the future. The game's swinging in new directions, and I'm here for it. Host Gil, you're tough to please. Jason, let's talk about the men's final. What were your expectations going in, and how did it play out for you? Jason Isaacs. Oh, man, I had high hopes. I'm a Wimbledon regular. As you guys know, tennis is my obsession. I was there in 2015, watching Federer and Djokovic in that epic final. Roger was coming off a straight sets demolition of Murray in the semis, and I thought, this is it, he's back at his peak. I had a courtside seat, neck craned, ready for magic. But Novak just suffocated him. Hit the ball so deep, so central, Roger couldn't get in. Sunday's final gave me déjà vu. Once Sinner got rolling in the second, third, and fourth sets, he was pounding the ball deep, forcing Carlos Alcaraz to half-volley everything. No power, no attack. Sinner took control, ran him side to side. It was like watching Djokovic dismantle Federer all over again. Carlos, who's usually this hungry baseline predator, just couldn't find his rhythm. Host Nick. Speaking of Wimbledon, we heard you were in the Royal Box on Monday. That's a bucket list experience. Can you give us the behind-the-scenes scoop? What's the vibe, the rules, the whole deal? Jason Isaacs. The Royal Box is unreal. You're front row at the best court for the best sport. Day 1, I watched Alcaraz against Pini. Let me tell you, Carlos was off. Couldn't find his drop shot, couldn't hit his lengths. Pini's 38, not exactly fleet-footed, and still pushed him hard. If Carlos had faced anyone sharper, he'd have been out in the first round. Lucky for him, he warmed up as the tournament went on. Sinner, though? Like clockwork. Even on an off day, he's just relentless. Always getting the ball back. As for the Royal Box, it's a whole ritual. You dress up, suit and tie, which is brutal in that heat. They serve this incredible tea, and you'd be crazy not to indulge. The best part? The menu they hand you isn't for food. It's a list of who's in the box with you, so you know who to nod to or bow to. I ran into Sarah Ferguson, who I'd met 25 years ago on a Peter Pan documentary in Australia. We had a blast reminiscing, and her daughter Beatrice was there too, both super charming. But you've got to behave. Cameras are everywhere. My wife learned that the hard way last time we went. She pulled out a book to read during a match. I was like, sweetie, you can't read on TV. She switched to one earbud for a podcast, pretending it was commentary. Hilarious. Host Jeff. That's amazing. Your wife reading in the Royal Box. Iconic. Okay, let's talk about the final again. You said it didn't live up to the hype. Why not? What was missing? Jason Isaacs. Look, I was at the 2008 Wimbledon final. Federer versus Nadal. Maybe the greatest match ever. It wasn't just their shots. It was the guts to go for broke at clutch moments. Sunday's final? It lacked that spark. Alcaraz, who's usually a joy to watch with his drop shots and flair, started panicking. His forehand fell apart. Drop shots were either too long or too short. Sinner, on the other hand, was a machine. Nothing flashy, just bent knees, steady focus, getting every ball back. He's a lesson for us amateurs. Stick to the basics, and you can outlast anyone. But watching Carlos lose his spark, yelling at his box in Spanish, I don't know what to do. That was tough. It's like watching a kid lose his confidence. Psychology is half the game at this level. Sinner got in his head, and once you're screaming at your team, it's over. We've seen it before. Kyrgios did it in a final, and it tanked him too. Host Gil, you mentioned psychology. We saw that in the women's final too, with Iga Swiatek. What did you make of her performance? Jason Isaacs. Heartbreaking. I caught the highlights after a long day of shooting. Iga's got the game. She's a clay court queen, not a grass specialist, but she's got the tools. Problem is, she got psyched out. You could see it in her body language, just like Carlos. She wasn't coming to the net, playing too defensive. At this level, if you don't believe you can win, you're done. It was like watching Indiana Jones with the walls closing in, and she didn't have the whip to escape. Her press conference was great, though. She's already turning it into a learning moment. That's the mark of a champion. Host Nick. Let's talk American tennis. Taylor Fritz and Ben Shelton both had strong showings. How do you see their future? Jason Isaacs. Oh, it's exciting. Fritz in the semis, Shelton holding his own against Sinner. It's a great time for American tennis. Watching them, I got flashbacks to Djokovic in '06 or '07, when he was stuck at number 3 behind Federer and Nadal. Fritz and Shelton are young, hungry, and they've got the tools. Fritz's press conference was spot on. He knows what he needs to work on. With all the digital analysis now, they can pinpoint exactly where to improve. Shelton's backhand is a rocket. You need electronic line calls for that kind of power. They're not there yet, but they're close. It's like playing craps instead of roulette, better odds, and they're figuring out how to play them. Host Jeff. Speaking of players with potential, what's your take on Stefanos Tsitsipas? Goran Ivanišević called him out for being out of shape. Is his one-handed backhand holding him back, or is it something else? Jason Isaacs. That Goran quote might have been taken out of context. Headlines love to twist things. But yeah, Tsitsipas's backhand has always been his Achilles heel, even when he was world number 4. His serve, forehand, and athleticism are elite, but the backhand fails him more than it should. That said, I think his bigger issue is mental. He's a thoughtful guy. Host Gil, you mentioned the mental game, and we saw that with Tsitsipas in his first-round prep. You were up in the players' area and overheard some tension between his dad and Goran. How do you think that dynamic affects him? Jason Isaacs. Oh, it's huge. I was there 15 minutes before his first-round match, and you could feel the friction. His dad was laying into Goran, saying, he needs to do this, he needs to do that. Goran was just taking it, but you could tell it wasn't a happy vibe. That's tough for Stefanos. He's caught between his dad, who's been his coach forever, and his actual coach. It's like Coco Gauff's situation before her dad stepped back, letting her work with new coaches. That separation helped Coco, and I think Stefanos needs something similar. I've seen it in showbiz too. Parents managing their kids' careers can mess things up. His dad's a great guy, don't get me wrong, but that dynamic isn't helping. The mental game is everything. And if Stefanos is carrying that baggage onto the court, it's like playing with a 2% handicap. You can't afford that at this level. Host Nick. Let's pivot to the fans for a second. Wimbledon's crowd is so unique, passionate, but silent during points. What do you think about the champagne-popping incidents during serves? Any words for those bottle poppers? Jason Isaacs. It's infuriating. Wimbledon's like a cathedral. There's a reverence to it you don't get at other tournaments. The US Open is loud. The French Open is all wine and cheese. The Australian Open has rugby score updates. But Wimbledon? You're there to worship tennis. Popping a champagne cork mid-serve or shouting during a rally. That's not on. Nobody bought a ticket to hear you. I'd be draconian about it. First warning, then you're out. Drag them out by their feet if you have to. Let's keep the sanctity of center court intact. Host Jeff. Love the passion. How does Wimbledon stack up against other major sporting events you've been to? Jason Isaacs. For me, nothing touches Wimbledon. Tennis is the greatest sport, and Wimbledon is its holy ground. The sound of the ball on the strings, especially when the roof's closed, is pure magic. The grass plays differently now. Higher bounces, longer rallies, which I love. Everyone in white, no walking billboards. It's pure. I was there in 2015, sitting next to this older African-American couple. Turns out, it was Charlie Ashe, Arthur Ashe's brother, there for the 40th anniversary of Arthur's win. He was so dignified, just soaking in the moment, not chasing media attention. That's what Wimbledon does. It's not just a tournament. It's a pilgrimage for tennis lovers. Host Gil. Let's shift gears to your other passion, show business. You've been in massive projects like Harry Potter and White Lotus. The latter has this wild ability to spawn memes, like your character in a Duke shirt holding a firearm. What's the secret sauce behind White Lotus's cultural impact? Jason Isaacs. It's all Mike White. The guy's a genius. People in Hollywood are scrambling to crack the code, but there's no formula. It's just Mike. He writes real people, not ciphers for some big political point. He's a tennis nut too, by the way, plays all the time. Unlike most TV, where a committee of execs waters everything down into a predictable soup, Mike's shows are his voice, unfiltered. He loves reality TV, like Survivor, and it shows in how he crafts characters who feel alive, flawed, human. That's why a random moment like my character with a gun becomes a meme. It's unexpected, raw, and real. Nobody else is doing that. Host Nick, do you ever bring your tennis gear to set? Any epic on-location matches? Jason Isaacs, always. My rackets go in the bag before my toothbrush. On White Lotus, we were shooting next to a hard court in Thailand. 100-degree heat, shoes melting. I played barefoot against an extra who was pretty good. My feet were shredded, blood everywhere, blisters galore. The crew was like, "Your socks are red." I had to get patched up by the nurse. But I'd play best of 5 sets, taping my fingers, rocking a Johnny Mac headband, just to keep the racket from flying out of my sweaty hands. There were moments I thought, this is it. I'm dying on this court. And I was fine with that. If you're gonna go, a tennis court's not a bad place. Better than some awkward bedroom scenario. Host Jeff, speaking of epic moments, your effort to join us from the airport is legendary. Any fun stories from Terminal 5 while you're waiting? Jason Isaacs. Oh, man, I ran into a family of Harry Potter fans who flew in for the studio tour. They wanted a selfie, and I was like, let's do it by the luggage carousel. Then they caught me practicing card magic, my new obsession, and I promised to do a trick for their kids. But I got caught up with you guys, so I hope they're still around. Sorry kids. Tennis and you guys won out today. If they see this, I owe them a trick. Host Gil, card magic, tennis, White Lotus, you're a man of many talents. Any final thoughts on Wimbledon or what's next for you? Jason Isaacs. Wimbledon was a reminder of why I love this sport. The drama, the psychology, the sheer beauty. I'm already counting down to the US Open. Hopefully, I'll be there, maybe even in the stands with you guys. As for me, I'm back to work, probably playing tennis on some random set, and definitely practicing my card tricks. Thanks for having me. It's always a blast. Host Jeff. Jason, you're a gem. Thanks for the stories, the analysis, and the airport vibes. We'll see you at the US Open, rackets and cards in hand. Jason Isaacs. Count on it. 3 out of 5 sets, and I'm ready. Thanks, guys. Host Nick. That was Jason Isaacs, folks. Actor, tennis nut, and card trick maestro. What a way to wrap it up.